Hello and welcome to the Battle of the South Bay Middle School Championship game, or at least the lead up to it. Hi everyone, I am Becky, otherwise known as Becky Bear, and I'm going to be your little shoutcaster for this afternoon across this game that you're going to be watching that is Adams versus Paris in an intense game of Rocket League. Super excited to be here and walk you through this game as it is played. Normally not really a solo caster. Normally I have somebody else here with me. I might have a little voice here and there to help me through some of these places, but my intention is to help you get through with a little bit of understanding of what's going on. But luckily for you, Rocket League is one of the easier games to understand at first blush because it is basically at its core cars playing soccer. I'm sure your kid has already explained this to you multiple times if you've seen them playing the game and you've asked any questions about it, but hopefully with the help of my voice over the game, you'll be able to understand it just a little bit better, and we'll be able to highlight some of the epic plays that these kids are making. Super excited to get into this match, and also excited to be bringing esports to you all at home and for you to get a little bit of a taste of what esports could mean for your kid and your kid's future as well. There are so many different facets of esports, including what I'm doing, including back ends of gaming, including just the amount of teamwork that being a part of a team provides to kids, students, and adults as well. So excited to bring this to you, and also getting ready and supposedly getting ready for our teams who are sat down and are ready to go down on to the pitch. I'm excited to help bring y'all through this, and let's take a peek at what our players are going to be bringing down onto that pitch as well. We've got a typical setup here. As you can see, the Adams team is going to be on blue, while Paris is going to be the orange side of the team. We're going to be watching a spectator mode, which means that we will be switching between multiple different points of view between the players that are playing for each of the different teams. As I mentioned, Rocket League is much akin to soccer. Every single one of these players will be represented by a different car that is going to go across the board, go over different boost sites that you'll be able to see on the ground, and basically be trying to hit the ball into the opposing team's goal within the time limit. After the time limit is up, the team with the higher score is going to be the victor. If there is a tie for there could be many reasons that there would be a tie, but in case there is, they're going to go ahead and go into an overtime match where it is going to be the first team to score that is going to be coming out as the victor. Our teams are getting all situated and themselves figured out so that we can have a good and fair game to start things off here. There we go. Getting these teams all sorted and figured out. And with that, we get into our lead in here, where we get to see, again, Adams is going to be facing off against Paris, and these teams are competing to play in the championship next week. A close call for the blue side here. That was looking a little bit rough and tumble. That ball got very close to the goal, but we got to see a nice save coming through there. A demolition coming through as well that you potentially got to see in the corner there. If players get that little number all the way in the corner up high enough and they collide with another player, that can cause a demolition, which takes both of the cars off of the map for a bit of time and is going to lead to kind of some dead space for that ball to either be picked up by another player or like force a little bit of a reset, and they're pretty pivotal to how the game is going to end up shaking out. A minute down on the clock here for these players. And aside from that first scuffle that we saw pretty even match. A very good pass across the board coming through from the blue side of Parras here. And with that big pass, a little bit of a relocation of that ball, we're going to get to see in this replay a great setup coming through. That demolition doing wonders for the blue side to just plow on through with that. Okay, it's Adams on the blue side, and Adams is going to be the first team to take a score. Very nice setup coming through from those players. You got to see that nice push across the board with the full airtime on the ball into a nice little pass and sink into the goal. So very nicely done. Great teamwork coming through from the side of Adams there to start things off. A good save to come through there, just narrowly saving Parras from another goal coming through. We're seeing one player kind of wait along the edge, trying to see when all is said and done from that scuffle, can we go ahead and knock this ball down and get it back into the goal? Narrowly not able to do so, and is going to go ahead and move around to pick up some of these boosts and set up with the rest of the team for a coordinated strike back onto the orange side goal. Some more airtime coming through, a lot of dead action on this ball, but thankfully for the blue team, that means they're able to do a quick and easy setup, while the orange side took a little bit too long to get back over towards where that ball's action was happening. A reset once more about halfway through this match. Adams up 2-0. And showing great control over the ball when it's in the air, which is one of those marks of being really, when you're starting to watch Rocket League at an extremely high level, you see a lot of air control on the ball. In fact, most of the time the ball doesn't even touch the ground in extremely high level of Rocket League play. So it's cool to see that even at this level, we're seeing players do a really good job of kind of an understanding of the physics of the game and being able to use that to their advantage. And you're also getting to see a great kind of duo in these two players from Adams. Once again, very similar to that first goal, being able to sink the third goal of this match. 2 minutes left, and this is where you start to wonder, is Parras, this is a best of 5, of course, as you can see from the middle of the screen, and if you're Parras, you're kind of trying to decide, okay, you can kind of be down and out in a best of 5 for one match. You can kind of take your step back, use it as an opportunity, breathe. You got 4 other matches potentially. You don't have to win this first one. And this is always a point where you kind of have to talk to a lot of players of any skill level in a best of 3, in a best of 5, and you have to tell them, like, you can't let that first match kind of get you down. You can't let that first match affect your mental, because you still have more matches to go, kind of whether you like it or not. And this is always one of those moments where I'm like, okay, at 3, it would be really hard for Parras to come back from this situation, but then wondering how these players are handling their mental, how these players are using the time that they have still in this match to assess, how do my opponents play, what are strategies that my opponents rely on, and how can I use that going into the next game as well. And I think that is kind of where Parras is resigned to at this point in the match. Adams, as they are managing through, you can see in this replay, go ahead, a nice center goal there coming through from the side of Adams. 4-0, minute left. Not likely to go into that overtime situation, as I mentioned, barring, we did almost just see Parras go ahead and go for a slick shot on that opening kickoff, but narrowly not able to make it, and they are quickly back on defense. But Adams is coming in extremely aggressive, despite that first kickoff showing just a glimmer of hope. We're really getting to see the players of Adams do a great job of sending 2 players down onto the orange side of the pitch, and really kind of focusing on, if we can make something happen as 2 while another player hangs back and plays a more defensive strategy, that's all we really need to do. And I think Adams also has the ability to focus on doing something like that because they are 5 points ahead. That strategy has is good as a kind of blanket in a lot of situations, but certainly they are afforded that bit of comfort in strategy as they continue to have a strong point score in this game. We got 15 seconds remaining, some back and forth as these cars are piled up, but Parras able to, through this scuffle, find a way to knock that ball into the blue side goal, find themselves a point, and I think this goes back to exactly what I was saying. Parras is going to hopefully be able to take even just a small moment like that. Sure, with 10 seconds remaining, they're probably not going to be able to score 4 more points, but just something as head-raising as, okay, we were able to score 1 goal. Let's go ahead and see if we can bring that energy into game number 2. That ball finally did hit the floor, and that final second did go down, and it is going to be Adams to take the first of this best of 5, 5-1. Our players are readying up for the next match going into this. Adams find themselves, if they win 2 more, are going to be the ones coming out on top. Parras going to have to fight to get 3 from this point on, and we're back. Center pitch. Nighttime and awaiting the kickoff here. Kickoff quickly pushes it towards Adam's side of the board, and this could be the kind of aggressive retaliation that we were anticipating seeing from Parras. It's a place where they got really close to scoring previous goals. It's a place where they were able to score 1 goal in the previous match, so going into this game, I wouldn't be surprised to see them play a little bit more aggressive and kind of just saying, you know, go big or go home. That's what you got to kind of do. Unfortunately, we are seeing some really slick dribbling coming through from some players on Adams' side. Just great control happening from these players. And Adams getting a quick goal in here to start off game number 2. Kickoff once more, and unfortunately that back and forth does push that ball back towards Parras' side once again. Control trying to stay in the hands of these blue players. Weird to say hands when it's soccer and cars, and neither of them really involve hands, but you know what I mean. Great defensive play coming in from Parras here, really just trying to make sure that they have enough players at the back to combat what Adams is pushing forward. A beautiful steal, but it's really back and forth, really trying to make sure that they're in the right place when this ball makes contact with the ground once again. A lot of boosts picked up. And really just trying to play off of that as much as possible. Once again, just masterful steals coming through from the side of Adams, and really just taking away the dribbling potential that was happening from Parras. And even though nobody else was on that side of the board, that final little push on the side, very well done from Adams players. A lot of the members of Parras trying to make sure, kind of using strength in numbers, it seems, as their strategy to even try to keep control of the ball. That can always be a little bit scary once enough boosts are picked up from opposing players. You really have to worry about that number game changing real fast, so a lot of players trying to play really tight and close to the ball here, but that is ultimately, I keep praising Adams for it. They're doing a really great job of taking control in these moments where there are lulls, going for these steals. And a narrow moment where Parras was hoping to make a big push with that ball towards the other side of the field. It just gets snatched away from them by Adams. Fourth kickoff, really going back and forth here. Pressure over towards the Adam side of the board. Great air time from blue side players. A nice little post hit. Adams is going to be wiping sweat off their brow for that one. And really just trying to take control once again. Really trying to go up along the fence and carry this ball across as much ground as possible. An unfortunate moment to lose control of the ball there, as it does end up with these blue Adams side players trying to push the ball back over towards that orange side. A solo mission here to start things off. Going to try and get those boosts and try and create some air with that ball once again. Try and knock it down for another player to go ahead and sink it into that goal. That post hit not coming this time around. Is going to be a beautiful sink in with multiple players there ready to make it happen for the side of Adams, who are 4-0 with 2 minutes remaining. A little bit of a scary moment there for Parras. Ball almost going back towards their own goal, but they are able to go ahead and save it, pass to another player, and try and start to dribble this ball all the way down the court with as much airtime as possible, and beautifully done. We have been seeing the slight Magpie player do a good job of trying to get that ball up into the air and trying to do a lot of what I was talking about. It's just so much more difficult. The reason that you see so much airtime in higher level play is strictly because it is so much more difficult for an enemy to take the ball from you if you are playing in that air as much as possible. And that was exactly why you see a lot of that gameplay happen, is because we just got to see Slight Magpie go ahead and carry the ball all the way across the pitch and into the goal for Parras. Adams, though, quick retaliation coming through here. And we're getting to see their strength, that play off of one another, where one player, all right, I got it to this side of the board. There's going to be one hit back. Let's go ahead and see if we can have another player go ahead and finish sinking that ball for the point. 5-1. We're at the same point value that we ended game number 1 at, and there's a minute 20 left. Still opportunity for Parras, if they play really aggressive, to come back into this match. But it's going to be something that they've got to be looking to do quickly, and also it seems a little bit rough that they're holding a lot of players back to defend their own goal, and Adams still finding an opening despite all of that. Minute remaining here, 6-1. These blue players still doing such a good job of that teamwork, that back and forth, and also once again trying to take this ball to the skies, trying to make sure that it's so much more difficult for the players who are trying to play defensively and staying on the ground from being able to handle what they're bringing to the table, rewarding them with their 7th point. A kickoff here, and I mean, I kind of talked about this in the first game, and I'm going to bring it back up this time around. Still an opportunity for this game to go to Adams, and Parras to still kind of do what we call a reverse sweep. I feel like if you've been watching sports for any amount of time, any kind of tournament structure even, you're familiar with the phrase, but Parras could still come back and win the entire series by going 3-0 after going 0-2. And I think this is one of those situations where we're starting to see Parras in this change, in these last few seconds, figure out, okay, playing so defensively that we're keeping multiple people back in our goal while we're this many points behind is just not going to end up getting us anywhere. So let's go ahead, let's move some players forward on the pitch, and if we're going to lose more points, we're going to lose more points, but we were already losing this game anyway. And I think that that's one of the things that's hard to recognize for a lot of players, and I'm hoping Parras is able to recognize going into match number 3. But Adams takes this second one home and are 2-0 with 7-2 score after a 5-1 that started us off. A very high scoring games between these two teams, and that could be the next thing that we try to see from Parras going into the next match, or something that I would like to see and I think would be much more attainable. Like, it's easy to be like, let's go ahead and just like get more goals. It's like, it's not always that easy. And I think it would actually behoove Parras to maybe just try and kind of stay centered for as long as possible, to try and just prolong the amount of time that there is in these matches and slow down the tempo of the game. Because Adams, once they're able to kind of get that control, they've just been able to do so much more with their time with the ball than we've been able to see Parras manage to get. All right, match number 3. Adams in this match stands to lock in their championship position. If they take this one down, they will be locked in to go to the Battle of the South Bay next Tuesday to play the in-person championship. Parras gonna try and holds down the fort for as long as possible for a chance to come back into this series, but Adams getting that final little push on that ball into the goal. Start things off with a quick goal. 12 seconds taken off the clock, and they have themselves a point. All right, we are getting to see Parras go ahead and play much more aggressive in this match. We see all players from that orange side trying to stay, keeping pressure onto that blue side. Having to do a quick turnaround now, but luckily able to go ahead and grab that ball back, trying to get it into some of that airtime, push it towards some of those teammates and go for that pass. But Adams just doing a fantastic job of snagging that ball out from under these players from Parras every single time. It feels like a timely demolition coming in moments ago as well to make it that much more difficult for Parras to push the ball over towards this blue side goal. Some airtime is going to allow for Sly Magpie to try and push that into a position where Dylan could go ahead and sink that in, but we're getting to see a good disruption coming through inside of Adams, and pressure is back onto that orange side goal. Ooh. Front row seat to that demolition there. And the ball anchored right by that orange side goal. Two players really trying to make sure that that ball does not end up going in. A 2-on-2 scuffle back and forth. It's really hard once you get stuck in that corner of the goal to go ahead and get yourself out. And we got to see two members of Parras unfortunately just get stuck in that position that's too difficult to come back and defend from. Adams scoring themselves 2 points with 3 minutes remaining on the clock. Still plenty of time for Parras to rally themselves back into this match. Boost picked up for the blue squad, and really trying to put that pressure and move that ball back over towards the Parras side goal. A lot of air control coming through, a knockdown to try and put it within the reach of those teammates, but unfortunately for Adams, Parras is able to go ahead and push that ball back over towards the center of the field and over towards the blue side, trying to make sure that it goes to those teammates and doesn't get sniped away. An unfortunate miss of that ball for a moment as well. And the blue side movement is just keeping things in such a back and forth rigorous pace here. And it's a good strategy if you're ahead in points to keep yourself doing this for as long as possible. Just keep that pressure on. Don't always go ahead for those defensive moves. But it is going to be that slight magpie from Parras finding a goal through the fray. That back and forth, that aggression coming in, that change that we're seeing from Parras, that adaptation paying off. 2-1. Parras still in a good place to find themselves a win through this fray that is this best of 5. Putting pressure again over towards this goal. Trying to make Adams sweat to take home this game in a 3-0 fashion. Good little snipe to get control of that ball again, and that demo really going to make it difficult for the rest of the Parras players to make reflection on that ball, and it does end up getting pushed over back towards that orange side. Airtime coming in here. But unfortunately, it does not keep it. Falls back to the ground. And these players really just kind of playing a little game of keep away back and forth between each of them. 1 minute remaining. Pressure is on the orange side of Parras. They have to find themselves a point to bring this into overtime, or even give themselves an opportunity to get a point over Adams. Whereas, as we're getting to see from Adams in exactly that moment, the name of the game is stalling. 30 seconds remaining, a point in their favor, and match 3 when they've taken 2 matches. All Adams needs to really do in this situation is go for those demolitions, try and stall the game out. They don't even need the ball to be towards the orange side of the field. They just need the ball to stay away from their goal. And with that time ticking down, that ball staying close to the ground. Second left, the moment that ball touches the ground, it is going to be Adams who are taking the victory in this best of 5, winning in a 3-0 fashion. All right, and that is going to be Adams who are punching their card, locking their spot in for the championship next week. Next Tuesday, they're going to be playing that in-person championship, the Battle of the South Bay. And we're going to wish them the best of luck. A GG well played to Parras, especially for their improvement across those 3 games that we got to see, those adaptations and that teamwork coming through from not only Parras, but also from Adams as well. We look forward to seeing more from these players and look forward to seeing you all next time.